Hello, my name is Sarah Monsell, and I work at the English Language Center here at UTSA. In this video series, I'll show you how to apply to the International Graduate Pathway Program using the Liaison application portal. If at the end of this video series, you still have questions about your application, you can contact the English Language Center by calling 210-458-7677 or sending an email to englishlanguagecenter@utsa.edu. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fill out the personal information section of the application. In the previous video, I explained how to create an account and how to add a program to your application. And I reminded you that to apply to the International Graduate Pathway Program, you do not need a separate application for the pathway program. You only need to apply to the master's program that is the track that you want to use in the International Graduate Pathway Program. So if you did not see that video, I suggest that you watch that video first. In this video, we're going to talk about this section, personal information. So when you log in and you click here, you'll see 6 sections under personal information. The first one is biographic information. You'll see that your name is already filled out for you with the name that you used when you created your account. If you need to change this name, then you can click here to go to the profile section and change the name. If you have a preferred name that you want to use, for example, if you have a nickname that you use very often, or maybe you have an English name that you want to use in the US, and that is different than your legal name, then you'll click yes here and you'll put your preferred name. If your legal name is the name that you want to use, this name up here, then you'll click no. Alternative name. Do you have any materials under another name? For example, a maiden name, middle name, or nickname. So if you have other materials, for example, your transcript from your undergraduate studies that is in a different name, you will click yes here and put that name. So maybe when you got your bachelor's degree, you had one name, then you got married and you changed your name, and now you have a different name. Then you need to press yes and write your past name. If you have never changed your name and all of your materials for this application all have the same name on it, then you click no. Here you're going to put your sex, male or female. If you want, you can also list what gender you identify as and pronouns that you'd like to use. Here you're going to put your birth information, your date of birth, the country, city, state, or province, and county. Then you'll be completed this section and you can press save and continue. You can continue to the second section, contact information. Here, for address, you have the option to enter a current address and a permanent address if they're different. For an I-20 document, you need to make sure that your permanent address lists your home country. So maybe right now you are not living in your home country. Maybe you're renting an apartment in New York City. You could put that apartment that you're renting here in current address, but then you have to say, is this your permanent address? You would say no and fill out your permanent address with your home country. If you are currently living in your permanent address in your home country, you can write that here, say, yes, this is your permanent address, and then you do not need to add a second address. Your phone number and email are already filled in based on what you put when you created your application. If you need to change either of those, you click right here to profile selection. You'll go there and you can change it. Finally, in this section, it asks for emergency contact information. So an emergency contact is a person that you're going to list here And if anything happens to you, if you have any sort of emergency, this is the person who will be contacted. Usually people put a spouse, so their husband or wife, or a parent here. But you can also put another family member or a close friend. So you're going to put their first and last name, their phone number that they can be reached at, and then you're going to put their relationship to you. So is it your spouse? Is this person your parent? Are they your friend? Fill that out. You've completed this section, press save and continue. Then you'll go here to family information. If you want to add a parent or guardian, you can click add a parent or guardian. If you do not want to, then you can click the button that says opt out. I already clicked the opt out button, so that's why you see this. Okay, then citizenship information. Here, you're going to enter your U.S. citizenship status. Right? Are you a U.S. citizen, permanent U.S. resident, temporary U.S. resident, non-resident, or none of the above? After you fill that out, you'll then have to write your country of citizenship. Choose it from the list. If you have dual citizenship, so that means you are a citizen in 2 countries, then you will have to put yes, and right here, you're going to select your second country of citizenship. If you are only a citizen in 1 country, you'll put your country here and keep that no. Okay, visa information. Do you have a US visa? Yes or no? Additional questions regarding your visa. If you're currently in the US right now, do you plan to leave the US before enrolling at the university to which you're applying? So if you are in the US right now and you plan to go out of the US somewhere else before starting classes at UTSA, then you're going to put yes. If you are in the US and you plan on staying here until you start your classes at UTSA, then you put no. If you're not in the US right now and you will not come before and then leave, you'll put no. Okay, then it's going to ask some questions about financial status. So here, expected source of financial support if you are or will be F1 or J1 status. So if you're going to be F1 or J1, you need to say what your source of finance. So how are you going to pay for this? Is it going to come from personal funds, your money and your family's money? Will it come from the government or some other means? Then here you have to enter how many US dollars you'll have in your possession when you arrive at the University of Texas at San Antonio. So make sure you're using US dollars when you enter this in here. How many US dollars will you be bringing, will you have in your possession when you arrive? This next question says, will you be bringing dependents? Dependents are family members who are relying on you. Usually, this is children. So if you have children that you will bring to the US when you start your classes at UTSA, then you'll click yes. If you do not, you will not be bringing your children with you, then you click no. Here, what are your plans for meeting the expenses of graduate education? In this section, you're just going to write briefly how you are going to be paying for the expenses. So that means how will you be paying for tuition, your food, your room, your apartment when you live here, your books? How are you going to pay for all of that, all of the different expenses that are here when you're a student at UTSA? So you'll briefly write that here. When you've finished this section, press save and continue. Then you'll go to race and ethnicity. So this information is only for gathering information. It will not affect your application at all. If you do not want to choose this section, if you do not want to put any information about your ethnicity and the race, you do not have to. You can just press save and continue and go on to the next section, which is other information. In this section, if you have a social security number, you'll enter it here. If you do not have a social security number, you do not enter anything there. Then this is asking your military affiliation with the US military. Okay, so click here and you'll see the different options. If you are currently in the US military, if you are a veteran, which means you in the past were in the US military, if you are a spouse or dependent of a US military service member, you fill those out. If you are not related or you are not a US military, you have no affiliation with the US military, then you will click this last one. I do not have a military affiliation as a US military service member, veteran, or dependent. Okay. Then it's going to ask about academic infractions. So the first question, have you ever been disciplined for an academic performance by any college or school? So here it's asking about performance. So when you were at another university, did you ever receive low grades or low performance in your grades at the university and then were disciplined for that? So if you were put on academic probation, if you were dismissed, suspended, or disqualified because of your academic performance, then you'll press yes. If this has never happened to you, you press no. Then this question, have you ever been disciplined for student conduct violations? Academic probation, dismissal, suspension, disqualification by any college or school. Student conduct violations are asking about your behavior. So have you ever been disciplined for any college or school because of your behavior, because you violated the student conduct, the rules for behavior? So one example of this is if you were found cheating on an exam, that would be a violation of student conduct. So if you ever were disciplined, you got in trouble with a school, college or school for student conduct, so behavior, then you'll put yes or no. Okay. At any time in your life were you placed in foster care in Texas? So this, if you were a child in Texas in the foster care system, you'll press yes. If you were never a child in Texas in the foster care system, then you press no. Okay. And then here, how did you learn about UTSA's graduate program? How did you find out about this program? What made you apply? You're going to choose your answer here. Funding information. If you wish to be considered for a teaching assistantship, research assistantship, or fellowship, indicate the type of award you will seek. You can select all that apply. All right, so this is going to be asking about these if you want a graduate assistantship, or maybe if you want to do a teaching assistantship after your time in the graduate pathway program. You would not be doing any of these while you're in the graduate pathway program. This would be after you finish the graduate pathway program and you are fully in your major. Okay. If you are not offered a financial award, do you plan on enrolling if offered admission? So this is asking if you are accepted into UTSA, but you are not offered a financial award, a scholarship, or some money from the university, will you still enroll? Will you still go to class? Yes or no? And then I intend to enroll full-time or part-time. Click Save and Continue. And those are now the 6 sections of the personal information part of the application. In the next video, I'll show you how to complete the academic history section of the application.